What's up, Ebike fans? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make adjustments on your Magicycle brakes. A lot of us have been having rubbing issues with it, and adjustments are a little bit difficult, and I figured out a way to go ahead and do it. And this video will show you step by step how that process is. I figured out that works great, and I love the way everything about the bike now. I have really no issues. Brakes are working great. In fact, better than ever. So let's get started, and I'll see you in the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to let you guys know is this part of the bike, the disc, the silver thing that's on this, you don't ever really want to touch it. Also, it's really sharp on some corners there, so I do recommend using gloves of some sort to protect your hand on it. And you know, honestly, it doesn't have to be really thick gloves because you really want to have be able to touch and feel things. So these are actually mechanic glove I bought. You can get these gloves for like $5 at I got these at Harbor Freight the other week. And yeah, these are just like I said, mechanic gloves, and it'll help prevent you from getting sliced. The other thing is that you never want to touch it with your bare hands because the oils from your fingers will actually make the brake squeak. So what I want to go ahead and do is also do a quick cleaning on the brakes. So all I did was just put some rubbing alcohol onto a paper towel, just like that. Dip it in so it's a little wet, and then I just rub it on the brake. I think this is from Rite Aid, and it's a 70% isopropyl. Like I said, really cheap stuff. Now, oh, by the way, when you flip over the bike, please make sure that you are also elevating your bike. I do have two 2x4s on there. There's also a foam pad in case, if it did hit, it won't scratch anything on the ground. Also, I also put the bike on the rack on a stool. So when I'm doing that as well, when I'm flipping the bike over, it doesn't actually hit my fender, and also protects the back light from getting hit. So a short stool is really helpful. I should have probably put a rag on the stool, but the stool's plastic, so it's not going to really scratch anything. I was very careful about that. And then of course these 2x4s are stacked. If you can see, there's double stacked on both sides. So that gives it 4 inches elevation. So basically, if it's rubbing like this, you can actually see down inside right here there's a pad on both sides, and when the brake is pressed, I'm kind of pressing with my foot here, but when the brake is pressed, these pads will come together here. If I loosen this to make an adjustment, which I normally would be able to do, for some reason it seems to be slipping in. Okay, so if I wanted to adjust this, like to push it in or out a little, let's still rub it. Watch what happens here at this point, right in this gap. Okay, say if this is the right place for it to be. Let me go ahead and loosen this up. Okay, so there's not hitting right there, right? And then if I tighten, watch this gap here. It starts to close. And no matter what I do, I can't hold it out. Okay, so it's already, well, watch what happens when I twist here. Okay. There's a gap right here. This little gap right here. It'll start to close because, and even if I try to hold it out, this starts to slide in right here. When it gets tight, to be pushed out again. That I need to push it out again this way, so I loosen, it pushes away. The other thing is that it's actually, this part is hitting the disc right here when it comes in, so it's too close, so it needs to stay away from that. And again, when I start to tighten, if you see, it starts to push in. And that's a good example of it. I can't hold it out. I need it to start away because it's hitting the disc. And so here's what I did to fix the problem. Is I got this big thick zip tie. Okay. And it's because of the width of this part. And then what I did was I pushed it out. In order to get it to work, I had to push this out, shove this in here. And it goes even through the back. Okay. With that, now when I tighten, it'll pull that way anyway. It'll smash it. Okay. Oh, a little bit that way. But that's the only way I could figure out to go ahead and make it work. Okay, so what you saw was just the fix that I put up the front. All I did was got a wire clippers right after that. I clipped right up as close as I could to the actual brake part. Actually, I'll have a picture show right after this as well, but I just want to let you know that I did the same thing to the back wheel. I only needed to put it on one side of the caliper mount. I also figured out that it's not really the frame or the fork that's an issue. I think it's the caliper mounts, the front and the back, that have a slight angle to them. That's why when I was tightening them, it moved in. That is just something that actually, if you guys are having the same issue, you can just get the zip tie. I'm using the zip ties that actually came off the bike when I was taking off all the foam parts that was holding it together, the thickest one that was available. And the reason why I use that is also because of the material of zip tie is very strong. It won't deteriorate. It'll smash to a point where it just gives the gapping, and if I go really tight, it might be able to get even more, but it held perfectly with the right tension. Don't over tighten those. You want to make sure you don't strip any of those screws that are in there as well. You just tighten it as if you would if it didn't have a spacer. It'll work fine. It adds the right gapping to it. If you're using smaller zip ties, you might have to actually double them up maybe and stick it in there and see if that would work. But see if you're having the same issue, that it moves when you're doing it. If that's it, add a little gapping in there. It should work just fine with that. My brakes work awesome now. I mean, they are perfectly at the right tension I want, and it's actually a little tight. You know, it's like right where it is. The rotors are really aligned straight. There's no rubbing whatsoever. It actually works really good. So this is the fix that I came about. If you guys have any comments or questions, add it below, and you know, I can go ahead and see if I can have time to answer them and maybe make other videos for it. For any other things that can be made for the Magicycle, I'll go ahead and help out with that as well. Again, thanks so much for watching. If you guys like these kind of tutorials or these help, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.